All right. I'm dressed up because we had an interview, and I don't. Yeah, I like giving my first impressions. I think that's when they're honest and blah blah blah, and then I can reflect on it if I don't know, feel different later. But long story short, it went. I don't even know how long. I really have to pee, but we had an interview, and it went good. And I'm a pretty, objective person. My own worst critic, so I think I'm usually harsher on myself than not. So if I'm saying it went good, it went good. I would even venture to say it went great initially. It was essentially I met with who would be my boss, and then like a level up. I don't know if he was the coup or the director of something. He was called the coup once and then called the director once. Regardless, he's a big wig, a step above. First interview with the person who I already had one interview with went really well. Like I said, like genuinely, we were able to laugh and have good conversations just as human beings, as well as, professionally throughout the interview. It went well. I don't really feel I was too stumped at any point. I felt like I could be myself answering all those questions, and it went well. It went really well. And I got to meet like a ton of people around the office and stuff, which is always a hard thing to navigate, like how tight you get with them and how to, because like, it's just weird. Like, I don't want to annoy the fuck out of them, but I also want to shake their fucking hand, say what's up, and try to remember their name. And, if I'm going to be potentially working with them, I'd rather have been nice to them and went out of my way to shake their hand. But, I had to kind of see like some of them might have been on the phone and that. But also, like, the role wants you to be bubbly, and I am a bubbly guy, and I like fucking shaking hands. So we did well there. It was just, I didn't expect to be meeting that many people, if I'm being honest. I don't know what I expected, but it was kind of like a tour right away of the place and meeting people. And then the interview. Like I said, interview with the first person went really well. Then we go into the bigwig's office, and the vibe shifted. It's me and the person I interviewed with sitting while he's at his desk. The power complex shifted. It was a 2v1, and he had it. And it was like tough that I felt like I did so good in my first one that she's on my side now. She's gonna have my back. Like I felt like I had a mom in there, if it was like a principal meeting kind of thing. And the guy was cool. I liked him. It was just like he definitely did not look at my resume prior or care to, which is totally fine. He's a bigwig. I'm sure he's super, super busy, but like, you could just tell, like, he pulled up the resume in front of me. I could see, my profile and stuff on his screen. And you see him just do, like, a quick sift over it and then go into questions. And, like, as he's, like, looking at it, he's like, oh, so you left. Like, I don't know. I got no beef with it. But I'm just like, it makes more, if you're going to come interview me, come correct. One, for my sake. Two, for your sake. Like, make sure I'm good. Make sure I fit what you're looking for. And I think you're more likely to do that if you kind of prep, what you want to know from me. But he was cool. Both of them are lovely people, lovely company, like, all of that. But it was definitely, like, a little bit at first. And then, like I said, when he learned I was unemployed, you could tell he was a little bit like, oh. And he, like, went back to it one time. That's where I was like, shit, like, that's not good. Because I kind of explained, like, yeah, I think if fired or anything, I just left on my own. Didn't think it was a long-term fit, blah, blah, blah. And then he went back to it. Or I kind of just did like a short answer. And then he went back to it. I'm like, all right, let me kill this shit. Let me put this to bed. And then I felt it from there. It went pretty well. But yeah, he was just like, simply put, second interview was just less bubbly, less fun, and shorter. But overall, like, I think it'd be a good opportunity, great company. The compensation, the compensation was more generous than I expected, but dude, the PTO I'm realizing I was getting at my last job was nuts. It's like, you get 4 weeks, but you don't get a 401k. But you get 4 weeks of PTO, dude. Like, 4 weeks is nasty, and then at my 3-year mark, I went up to 5 weeks. This place, it's your first full year. You get 10. So, like, that's half of what I would get. Plus, I don't get that till my first full year. So, like, And I know I'm not saying I have the job offer or anything. It's super. I felt really, really good. And then as we kind of started talking more nitty gritty, she was like, at one point, I think we both were like, we're being too ahead of ourselves. And she's like, well, we've got more conversations with people. I'm like, oh, yeah, of course, my bad. But the vibe was there. But, like, I don't know. And then I was like, so that she's like, yeah, so you might get, like, only, like, 2 or 3 days rest of this year. Which I'm like, that's fine. But, no, that kind of sucks. And it's also, like, they get the same holidays at my other place, which is one thing where I was like, oh, that's why I get more PTO, because you only get 6 holidays at my old place. Like 1 day off for Christmas, 1 day off for Thanksgiving. So I'm like, if I get 1 or 2 days off, like that means I maybe get to have Thanksgiving and Black Friday off, and then like maybe 1 additional day for Christmas. Like that sucks. And it sucks too, because like even if you're at work and you're recruiting and calling people don't want to talk during those weeks. People are like, bro, I'm out visiting family. I'm on PTO. I'm on a beach. Don't talk to me. So that's a little concerning, the PTO being a little bad, but we'll see. It is, she does seem pretty flexible in terms of things. Like I said, I didn't want to get too ahead of myself, but I also want to be transparent and get things figured out. So I mentioned like how I go to therapy, and I'm like, would that be like a problem if, you know, I do like a half day or I leave somewhere and come back or something? And she seems really nice. I'm really, really confident in my boss. And the other bigwig I met is a close relationship with her. So I'm sure I trust him. Busy guy, I don't think, you know, I had a lot of one-on-one time to get that camaraderie going. We still had a little bit of giggles. So I don't know. Overall, it went well. I wouldn't be surprised if I got the offer, but I also wouldn't be surprised if I didn't. You know, I think the first person sold on me, but I don't know about the other guy. So if there's some candidate that both of them are sold on, well, bang, I'm dead in the water. So we will see, simply put. And also, one question that doesn't really matter, but I would have liked to know, I'd like to know where the fuck I'm going to sit. If I'm in a cubicle, if I got my own office, if I'm in a little pit. There was an open desk near a dude who I gelled with. That's one thing, too. I think I did a good job, even though I got like 3 hours of sleep. If that. I left the heat on downstairs. It was fucking hot. I couldn't sleep. I had to piss. I slept all day. Fucking bozo move. But I was bubbly. I was shaking motherfuckers' hands. And like when I was waiting for the other dude to be ready for the interview, she's like, you can go sit and chat with that dude. And I'm like, what's up, player? And it went well. He was cool too, and that's, you know, something I want. I want to feel cool with people. So yeah, long story short, it went good. We'll see how it goes, and I'm not gonna worry about an offer or anything like that, but we're kind of like wait and see now on this, because that affects if I'm moving or not. And part of me feels like I'm doing a cop-out if I hypothetically got the offer and accepted it. Part of me is like, no. Part of me is like, I don't know. There's so many thoughts in my head, but a lot of it's out of my hands, so I'm not going to worry about it. They're going to make the decision easier for me, or at least different. They have some control. So I'm just going to get home because I really have to pee. And I am a little bit hungry. We actually had a decent breakfast. But yeah, interview went good. We'll see how it goes. TBD. I'm going to right now say, hey, if I don't get it, that's fine. If I get it, that's fine. I don't want to be too pessimistic or too optimistic. And I'd have to see what everything comes in at. So we'll see. All right, cheers. Don't drive and video.